Sup peeps, it's Kudo here. Do you like monsters? Well, I do. So I asked peeps on Twitter to give each an exotic animal and an insect for me to work with, and I'll mash them together into freaky looking monsters and make it into a video. I'll explain the elephant in the room in the next video, but right now, I hope you enjoy the video. The first monster is a fusion of a velvet worm and a cat, but since a friend of mine who recommended this fusion didn't specify which species of cat, I decided to go with the wild Pallas's cat. Now, the first thing I thought about when designing this thing is that this beastly kitty is long. So, I'm giving it the body of a velvet worm with the features and mannerisms of the Pallas's cat. They're cute and fluffy, but they are still wild animals, meaning they will most likely bite if you try to pet them. But we're only making it mildly cute depending on your preference, but I gave it a vertical jaw to make it more unsettling, giving it some unkept fur so you'll know that it lives in the wild. Given that this is a monster, I'd say that its average length would be about the same length as a bus. I would imagine them as predators who, when they have their eyes on their prey, they would pounce without warning and constrict them like a snake with their elongated bodies. And once they got their paws on them, they go for the neck. And just like that, it's dinner time. So, despite being quite the long boys, they are quite sneaky and have incredible night vision like actual cats. For the color scheme, I went for some darker colors to match the velvet worm. I went for some darker magenta with a darker brownish red on their paws and face, and a bright yellow for that contrast. Oh, and I didn't shade any of these guys for time reasons. Here is the Palace's Cat Velvet Worm Fusion. You know, out of the 3 monsters I've made, I'd say this is my favorite. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. The next monster is a fusion between a secretary bird and an atlas moth. This was an interesting one, as the moth has a lot of patterns for me to work with in the design. So what I did here was primarily give it the body of a bird and give it long legs, which the secretary bird uses to stomp on snakes to cave their heads in and eat them. I also gave it 4 wings like a moth's front and back wings. I am not the best at drawing wings, mind you. I made the head and tail plumages resemble the moth's antenna, but decided to do something a little different. I decided to not give the plumages any line art because I thought it looked good, and then made them different colors so that they won't get lost with each other and the viewers won't know what's going on. I gave it curved talons and a slightly curved beak, because bird of prey. Its overall body was looking a little boring, so I gave it some chest feathers. I also gave it markings around its eyes to resemble flashy eyelashes, like what the secretary bird has. Slay. For the colors, I took the color palette from the Atlas Moth and gave it different markings on its wings, torso, neck, and face, but mostly the wings. The Atlas Moth has a weird gimmick involving mimicry, where the tips of its front wings look like the heads of a snake to scare off predators. So I took some waves of yellow and dots of black with a slit to somewhat resemble a face on the wings. Same for the torso, but vaguely. With some pops of off-white, red, and yellow, I'm starting to like these colors together. Who says red and yellow don't go well together? Although almost the entire color palette looks like different shades of orange. And here is the final result. The bird turned out quite nicely. Let me know what you think in the comments below. The last monster is a fusion between a Japanese rhinoceros beetle and a Komodo dragon. We're getting into kaiju territory with this one. So what I'm doing here is I'm giving this guy a bulkier build of the beetle, making him a tank. I also gave it the horns of the beetle and some armored plating so they can tank a few hits from the rival of their own kinds. I imagine that just like rhinoceros beetles, they would use their horns to ram each other to win over mates. I also gave them 6 legs and put armor plating on them as well. Unlike the other 2 monsters, this is the only one I gave some soft lighting on its armor, but still too lazy to do any overall shading. Also, I said kaiju territory earlier, but this guy is no bigger than a hippo. Just like Komodo dragons, they are entirely carnivorous and do have that venomous bite. They would probably hunt by ramming their horns against their prey and fling them into the air, like what rhinoceros beetles do. And once their prey is down for the count, it's lunchtime. And at the last minute, I gave them a forked tongue because they need those. For the colors, I added some grays and blacks that are just leaning towards a reddish hue, and their eyes are light red. Nothing too crazy like the bird. And here we have the final monster. I will say that this is my least favorite out of the bunch. I could have added some markings or something around the eyes or something. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And here are all 3 monsters. These aren't the best monsters I ever made, but I like how they turned out. But what do you guys think? I actually want your feedback on these designs. What do you think I could have done differently with these monsters? Let me know in the comments. Also, the reason why I didn't name these guys yet is because, well, I want you to name them. They can be scientific or silly portmanteaus. Give me your name suggestions in the comments, and I'll pick my favorites. But that'll do it for this video. I actually had a lot of fun drawing these. If you enjoyed, be sure to subscribe, don't forget to leave a like, share this video with your friends from all around the world, and as always, I will see you when I see you. Later!